Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd. This is Laura coming to you from Eat to Your Health with Carnivore. I just wanted to go live real quick this morning just because I had some questions. Some people asked me about food ingredients. I had one who kind of tried to come after me and was saying how, eating meat with all the stuff that's in meat, blah, 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 what is so bad. So I actually went through and did some stuff on that. So when it comes to eating carnivore, most of the things that most of the carnivores eat, now you always have your people who can eat additional stuff, multiple ingredients added to it. Most carnivores, though, don't do it that way. And it's not that one's better than the other, just some of us do a cleaner version, some do the other, and it's fine. But when it comes to like what I eat, you have burger, steak, fat, eggs, lamb, deer, elk, rabbit, squirrel, fish, ghee, tallow, lard, butter. Probably butter is the most processed out of any of those. So what I did was I went in and grabbed something that my husband has in the cabinet. It's a rice product, that's all I'm going to say. So anyway, I compared that because I asked this person, what do they eat on a daily basis? And they were like, well, I do this, and then for supper, I'll do that, and I'll throw tofu in with that rice. Kind of sounded really appetizing. Anyway, whatever they want. So I went through and I was like, oh, I think we have a box of that same stuff. So I wanted to look at the ingredients. So the main thing I can say to people is we really have to become educated consumers. You need to look at the labels. It takes extra time when you're in the grocery store to do so, but I do think it's very important. I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're going to put it in your body, to me, I want to know what it is. And I've always been that way since 1991, I should say. Prior to that, before I turned 20, and kind of woke up to the standard American diet, I didn't really care. So anyway, I do think you need to read labels, and you'll learn these little trigger words to watch for, like bioengineered, love that one, cultivated cells. I don't know about you, but if somebody says, do you want a ribeye or would you rather have cultivated cells? I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for that ribeye. Because I don't know what cultivated cells came from, and they don't have to tell you. So it's just like other spices. You don't know what they are. Natural ingredients. What the hell does that mean? If anybody knows, that'd be great. I'd love to know that one. So anyway, back to the rice. I grabbed it, and it's a flavored rice. So I looked at the back. So the ingredients went like this: rice, wheat flour, onions, salt, green bell peppers, hydrolyzed soy protein, monosodium glutamate, natural flavors, meaning what? Spices, again, meaning what? Ferric orthophosphate. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like anything I want to eat. Mononitrates, folic acid. So let's go over the hydrolyzed soy protein. That is a flavor enhancer, and this is from the website that, it's a government website. Not that they don't lie, but I'm just saying it's a government website. This is what they say that is. Flavor enhancer made by acids hydrolysis into 8 amino acids. Then used in food. Cosmetics may also contain MSGs. This food-like product, also had what is called 3-MCPD, which I will go into in a minute and tell you what that is. Known potential health risks are with that. Monosodium glutamate can cause headaches, migraines, heartburn, disrupts leptin in the brain. So go back to thinking how you can eat a certain cuisine. I'm not going to name it because, I'll get thrown under the bus for that. But you go out to a restaurant, let's say the last name of the restaurant's Wong's, and you can fill up on all that, and 2 hours later, you're looking around for a snack. Well, it's because, for one, your leptin has been hijacked for your brain, which is your satiety hormone, tells your brain, oh, I'm full. And then because it's such high carbs, you burn through it, it's gone. Now, it did raise your blood sugar, and that was great if you needed to run from, Megadon. Anyway, so ferric orthophosphate is an inorganic compound, and it can cause nausea, vomiting, constipation, and abdominal pain, which so many people have. So when I see people that I know are eating a ton of that, I'm like, oh, they're ultra-processed people, but they're not healthier. So this is the claim that a lot of these companies make, is that these are making things healthier. We have to feed the world. Well, instead of us feeding the world, shouldn't we go to those places and help those people learn how to better grow the food that's in their area versus giving them the standard American diet, which then leads to metabolic diseases they've never had? Just makes sense. Anyway, so let's go to 3-MCPD. It is a chloropropanol. Can cause increased incidence of tumors. Sounds delicious. It is found in palm oil and vegetable oils, which is why we try to avoid those at all cost. It can cause renal tubular hyperplasia. So what that means is inside the kidneys, you usually have a 1-layer cell thickness of tissue. What this causes, and it probably doesn't do it in every person, but I'd say it does in some, and the more you do it, probably the more likely you are to have it. It increases those cells to proliferate, which just means multiply. So instead of having a 1-layer thick cell, tissue in there, you're going to have multiple. Anytime you do that and you've got these tubules that, your urine, your blood, all these things run through, causes increased pressure in those areas, which leads to chronic kidney disease. Sounds delicious. The heating of 3-MCPD, which is in that rice that you have to cook, seems to increase these occurrences, according to their website. So what I do say to is look up, and it was hard to find, actually harder than it used to be, and I use DuckDuckGo as a search engine. It was very hard to find how some of these other like European countries, their food labels on the same food that we have, that we actually make here in the United States, we'll make a US version that has crazy amounts of junk in it, poison, and then we'll have their version for, let's say, Australia, and it may have a third of the ingredients. So that has to say something, like they're maybe a little further ahead of us. We may not be the superpower we thought we were. And we're definitely not going to be if we keep feeding children this food. It is absolutely, I would say any kid up to 12 probably already has fatty liver disease, which is sad. As a nurse, it's very sad. It's very treatable if you can do that. So European countries restrict additives of chemicals that are allowed in our food and drink. So another little trigger word that I've been seeing on a lot of the stuff in the grocery store. I don't go to the grocery store to buy most of my stuff unless it's like foil or canning lids or something like that. I make my own tallow, so I have that. I don't really purchase much, but I go with my husband every Wednesday when we go grocery shopping, and I'm always looking at their labels and seeing the change. And I was like, oh, this is bioengineered on it. So I was like, what the heck's that mean? That's a new little trigger word they threw out there and didn't really say much about. It's funny how they're real quiet when they're trying to do something sneaky. So, and there was no Chinese balloons to disrupt us looking and paying attention to it. Anyway, so I started seeing this bioengineered. So I looked it up. It's highly refined ingredients is what they say it is, such as sugars and oils. Now they have spent, I would love to have just a fourth of the money they have spent on studying how they can manipulate sugars and oils and then put them in our food. A lot of these were byproducts that years ago they had to pay fines to dump in landfills, and now they can just add it into our foods. That's a great way to get rid of all your waste that you have. You don't have to pay to get rid of it. You're like, oh, they'll buy it. Money. So, genetically modified organisms or lab created. So like your lab created meat. So I'm not sure if anybody out there has tried that. I would love to hear what you thought about it if you did. I had a patient who wanted to show me a chicken breast he bought from a Walmart in Illinois. And I was like, yeah, let's see it. And so the top of that chicken breast looked pretty normal in the package. And then he cut it open and he flipped it over. And I was like, never seen that on a chicken before. So basically, if you can imagine like the underside of a mushroom, where you have all those little when you turned that chicken breast over, you could take your fingers and go like that. And it was like a harp. It just had all these strings basically put together so it looked like a chicken breast. So when they say cultivated cells, this is another thing with the lab grown meat. Said cultivated cells. Do you know that they don't have to say where they got those cells? It can be any kind of cells they want to be. Do you know the amount of processing that goes into that compared to my cow or the lamb or the, rabbit? It's not processed at all except for when I do my processing to eat it. So I don't know. When that person kind of came at me, I'm like, dude, my beef is like a hunk of beef, or it's a deer that I've shot. Yours has all these ingredients, which took all this energy. We're all talking green energy. How is that green energy when you guys are utilizing all of these resources and pollution that it comes, leads to for food that we already have, that God already put here as food? I don't understand how that's green. In fact, I know it's not green. I know they really don't care if it's green. They just want to use that as their little power word. So I wanted to show you what I got yesterday. So I'll read it to you since it's backwards. So it says 100% natural, plant-free. Contents may vary in color, shape, and beliefs. Carnivore human being 2.0. Ingredients could be beef, butter, bacon, eggs, ribeye, sirloin, T-bone, sardines, shrimp, lobster, crab, oysters, clams, scallops, quail, liver, brisket. Says, of course, recycle. And it says stronger, faster, smarter, improved mood, and mental clarity. So when I go get my meat from, the place where I get my meat, I'm going to wear that. They kind of like to see the different shirts that I have. And I got that from Carrie Homestead House 24-hour live that they did with Alia and everybody. That was one of the things I ordered for, money going towards the documentary, which I can't wait. So that's it. That's my soapbox for the day. I just have to say that if you think about, like I said, I'm a car person. So, if you're thinking of your body as a Corvette and you pull up to the gas station and they have Turbo Blue, which is jet fuel. Let's say like we had a souped up car that you had to run Turbo Blue and jet fuel. You didn't have to, but my story is you're going to run at you have higher octane. It's going to be better. You're going to perform better, your motor. Well, our bodies are the same way. So why would I fill up with the lowest grade gas? And people say, oh, because of the money, it's so expensive to eat this way. I promise you, I am as cheap as they come. I'll wear the same pair of nursing shoes for 6 years. I've done it. I'm very frugal with that. I will tell you that in the beginning, like when you buy like a whole ribeye and you cut it up yourself, that seems like, oh my God, that costs $118. But then when you fraction it out as to what you spent for each one of those cuts of meat over that time, that's 3 weeks worth of food easily. Maybe more than that, because I like to have some variety. It's really not that expensive. You go down to where you're usually eating OMAD or maybe 2 meals a day. So it's actually much, much cheaper. It's just in that beginning phase. It is a little bit harder, but that's where you can implement some intermittent fasting. You can do some 12, 16, 18, 23-hour fasts. And, you can make bone broth. Go to your local butcher and ask for bones. That's something you can do on like a bone broth fast. It's not a true 100% fast, but it'll get you through. So there are things out there you can do to keep the prices low. Try to buy local. If you have a farmer and you can trust, I always ask them, what vaccines are you using? where's their environment, and you can see, if you know your farmer, you can go out and see where their, where their living area is and a good life. They have a great life up until one moment. They have one bad moment. So that's where we're going to go with that. And like I said, if you have any questions, I do have some cooking recipes, things I'm going to be cooking live probably later this week. I have more ribeye fat I need to go pick up because I love ribeye fat. So anyway, if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about or have me talk about, I'm not a doctor. I am a nurse of 21 years. I did keto 28 years. Carnivore for almost 4, and I have been Lion for several months. Lion diet is just a stricter form of carnivore. So don't know everything, but I'm willing to look anything up. And like I said, I don't trust Google, so I do a lot of times do hard copy stuff that I go through. And the information's out there. You just have to dig. So, all right, I'm going to get off of here. It's about ready. About time for me to head into the office and go see my people for today and see if I can change one person's day for the better. So as I always say, meet, heat, eat, and repeat.